Welcome, everyone, to this Little Starlight podcast episode called Importance of Remembering, Being Emotionally Alive, Cultivation of Authenticity. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Here we go. Okay. And yes, you are seeing and hearing everything as it is on this episode. I am here as host and guest. Whatever else needs to happen here. My name is Andrea Jaeger. Karen Vazquez and Adriana Solarova, who normally join me on Little Starlight podcast with fantastic guests, will be joining again on upcoming episodes. So this is you and me, all of us. Come on, here we go. All right. We have a special episode today involving the importance of remembering, being emotionally alive, and cultivation of authenticity. Announcements first. In early episodes, I spoke about a Little Starlight workbook. Guess what? We finished it, and it's being delivered to hospitals, schools, orphanages, trauma, homeless, and abuse shelters, and homes around the world. Maybe you received your copy already, and with the traditional and annual Little Star Foundation wall calendar for 2024. If you haven't received either of these, reach out to me, and I will make sure you get one. Super excited to show you more. Of course, we got to go through the whole thing here. But seriously, this is a really cool episode. So here we go. All right. You may notice featured for January 2024 of the calendar, if you did get yours, and on the first Remarkable Guest Workbook page, Laura Alden Cam appears. So Laura's extraordinary episode, giving informative information for your health, wellness, and other aspects of your important life, is upcoming this month on Little Starlight. So when you get your calendar, okay, here it is. Here it is. It's really cool. When you get it, this is your wall calendar, and you open it and go, okay, these are sure about the guests too. And you see Laura's page and her cool quotes. Like, I'm just going to read one of it because I want to make sure you get this and enjoy it and you feel inspired for the holidays for it. So one of our quotes are, there are miracles happening within you and around you all of the time. So cool to remember that. And especially this time of year and any time of year. But so when you look at this and then you get the workbook is very special. Here's the workbook. Okay. So when you see the workbook here, we give like a little introduction. And then we show the different episodes. We've had a busy time a Little Starlight this year, haven't we? Okay, so here is Laura's pages. Okay, so there's that one. There's this one. I'm hoping you're seeing everything. If not, you're going to get it in the mail. In the back, this is the back cover of it. It says, today is a new day, so shine on. So when you see that, and if you've been following and watching all of our episodes, you'd be like, wait a minute. It's in here, but I haven't watched it yet or heard it yet. It's because she's next upcoming. Very exciting. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure to cover that. That's super important. So Laura is one of those otherworldly people. She's a medical intuitive, best-selling author, spiritual teacher, and so much more. You may wonder, what is a medical intuitive? It's a great question. Laura Alden Cam is one, and she has been called a walking MRI machine. She can actually see inside the body, all of it, like all these things like inside, without the use of equipment or devices. Super cool, right? For sure. Her clients and students are from 147 different countries. Yes, I said that accurately. 147 countries. I thought about this, and I went, can I even name 50 countries? I think I would need a map, and definitely a nap to like. Okay, this is what happens when Andrea does podcasts alone. Actually, I think sometimes I do this route with other guests too and our hosts. Anyway, this is important. So it's serious, very serious here. When Laura was younger, she had a health episode and coded in an ambulance. What does coded mean? Some of you may not be familiar with that because maybe you're not in a medical career or haven't watched shows or have knowledge of that. Coded means you pass away, like die. Okay, so she actually did it in an ambulance. So after being in a coma and having a 10-hour brain surgery, Laura came back to life with greater knowledge and abilities. Perhaps with all that knowledge and abilities, but with the ability to use them in greater fashion. That's probably better said. Since then, and now for 40 years, over 40 years. So the foundation in 2024 will be its 39th year. So more years than that, 40 years, Laura has been guiding, teaching, and making a difference to people worldwide. Watching and listening to Laura Alden Cam's Little Starlight episode and learning about her life transforming. It airs next and is already in as upcoming soon on littlestarlightpodcast.com. That's the website. You can also find them in our announcements on littlestar.org. So the Little Star Foundation website as well. So you can watch it anytime too, which is perfect. I wanted to make sure you had the information to watch and listen as a gift for you to enjoy. So now to the subject material of this episode too. As for the importance of remembering, I'm going to read a note I received recently. It is from Robert Carlson. His note says, "Dear Andrea, thanks for keeping Melinda's picture on the website scroll. You made a big difference in her life, and we appreciate all you continue to do for the kids." Melinda, hold on, I want you to see Melinda's picture. Okay, so this is Melinda and Pam. This is Pam Thompson over here. She's from Oregon. She had a type of, she told me when she came to our program, she said that her type of cancer was 0% chance of survival. And Pam used to wear shorts on her head because she went through chemo and everything, but she didn't want to wear hats. She wanted to have her own style. She wanted to have something that was of herself. But anyway, this is Pam in the picture, and this is Melinda Carlson. She came for a lot of different programs. And as you can see with her smile, still has that special smile, without the braces though now. But Melinda was born May 11th, 1980. She passed away February 2001. During her tough treatments for childhood cancer and numerous relapses, Melinda attended many of my foundation's year-round long-term care programs. So the reason I'm bringing this up is being remembered is important, even beyond whom is being remembered. It affects more than just the person, because since Melinda passed on, she knows she's in my prayers and heart daily. She knows that. But it also, and she loves that, but it's also for other people too, for them to feel that importance. And remembering it's kind of all reaching, which is very important. So I just wanted to share that about Melinda. Every activity she did, every time she visited, and as we kept in touch, she was from Colorado. We spent a lot of time getting to know each other, and just so special and so full of life. And even her cancer and her cancer treatments, they actually turned her green at one point. And she never let it bother her, in the sense of she still had that big smile. She still had that big heart, and she shared it all the time. So another aspect about Melinda, when she passed on, she gave me a portion of her ashes. That was one of her last wishes, to make sure that I would get those. So I wanted to share that because, remembering is important. And I have a couple other things to share on that subject as well. The same time period, I received Robert's kind words. Another parent, this time a mom, called me. She thanked me for her child being decades-long cancer-free and giving her child the time of his life program. So when he was a child with cancer, and he was so little bitty Connor. This is Connor. He was from Virginia area, Virginia, Washington, D.C. And he just had this smile, but was so young, had never been away from home by himself. And his mom talked about that and said, I just knew he'd be safe and loved and taken care of with you and your team. And a lot of times I get the thank yous. It is always, it's a group effort. Sometimes I do things alone. Sometimes I do it with the VP, who has been with us now for all of those 38 years, coming into the 39th year. It hasn't been easy. And then we have, other team members that come in, and just people around the world. You might be someone that has supported us and helped the foundation. And because of you, these kids are getting these opportunities of a chance of a lifetime for kids. So I wanted to also remember you in this and say thank you. Thank you for you in that. And so the last on this subject, I also want to share a letter came in this year from Christy's parents. And Christy's pictures are on in this 2024 calendar as well. I shall hold on. Okay, so I'll read it from here. This is like our holiday thing. And see, you can see her pictures right there. This is when she was a little kid with cancer. This is when I knew her in the 98, 99 and years after that. And then here's her now. She's married and has her own children. So I'm going to read this letter from the family. And so what I also want to say is we've helped many millions of kids over the years and the decades. And I can never include all their pictures and thank yous in like one calendar or workbook or newsletter, but I do try to share a few. I definitely do that because it's important to to know that their spirit and their energy is being shared and out there, and also as an appreciation. Rhea, who is pretty much for me representative of all the kids. She was the first child with cancer who came, and as a teenager, and as we got to know each other, right before she passed, she was from Chicago, and I was with her a couple of days before she passed, and I went to visit her, and she told me with tears in her eyes that everyone would forget her. And I promised that wouldn't happen. And originally, long time ago, we had a different name. We're now Little Star Foundation. But the reason that I went to Little Star Foundation is because Rhea especially would look up in the sky for a star to wish upon. And there was something very poignant and profound about that. And in knowing that there are children that come that will live long and full lives, that have had childhood cancer that we've been able to help. But there's also the families that their child doesn't make their 10th birthday or even their 5th birthday or get to grow up and be married or go to college, things like that. And so we wanted to be able to have them have the ability to look out. And if they see a star shining bright, that's their child shining bright, and because their heart and their energy and their spirit live on. So I wanted to make sure I'm sharing that. And when Rhea told me that, I promised her, I'm like, you will always be remembered. I mean, it was like with the best enthusiasm I could bring forth. And she was at a frail state at that point, and you could tell the effects on cancer, like hour by hour even. And she knew that, and she saw that. I mean, she was aware it would take her a long time to get up and get to like a mirror or the bathroom or things like that. And it eventually she wasn't able to, but she knew the effects that were happening, and she knew I'd keep that promise. And so that's why I'm keeping the promise. Do you want to see Rhea's picture? Okay, hold on. Before I read the other thing, let me show you Rhea's picture. Hold on. Okay. It's right there. That's right there. That's Keith. Keith also had the same type of cancer. They were both from Chicago, Keith Eccles and Rhea Olson, and they had rhabdomyosarcoma, which back then was a little bit rare that we saw in kids, but they both had that, both passed away. But Rhea was, and I've talked to her about her. So maybe if you've listened to other podcasts, you've heard me talk about her, but she is still very alive in my heart, in hearts all around the world, and just very special. So anyway, now I'm going to read Christy's parents' card that came. It was a card. Oh, look, here's the picture of the card. You get a complete episode. All right, here we go. I hope I hit record, because if I hit record, oh my. Okay, so the front of their card says, "Thank you. 2 small words for such a big feeling." Inside the card part says, "Your kindness really made a difference. Your thoughtfulness really touched my heart. The gratitude I feel really can't be put into words." The words, and then what they wrote, the parents, the words "thank you" seem so inadequate. So I'm sharing this, and it's not like, oh, hi, isn't Andrea cool? It's not about that. It's about, at the end of this, I say, maybe you can remember someone that's dear to you or has been important to you. And so this might inspire you to do that and see what happens when you do that, when you do a kind gesture, or you make a difference, or you make a donation wherever, or you say hello, or you give a genuine hug and include someone in your prayers. So anyway, here's the letter. Okay. "Hello, Andrea. On the 25th anniversary of our daughter's bone marrow transplant, we want to express our deepest gratitude and share how wonderfully you inspire our child. On her 8th birthday, Christy was diagnosed with leukemia. I can go through all that and spell it for you too, but I'm just going to leave it like that. There's like AML leukemias, there's ALL leukemias, there's this one's an MS leukemia. Anyway, she was diagnosed July 21st, 1998. August 31st, she underwent a bone marrow transplant, with her brother being the donor. David, 2.5 years older, was born with spina bifida and was God's gift to be a perfect match to be her donor. When you invited her to your foundation, at first we didn't think she would go so far without us. That happens with all the parents and all the kids. It's so cute. But she jumped on it. Your camp was another one of God's gifts. We were told she would call us on arrival and the night before coming home. She called that first night, still excited. She then called the next night. So this was back before cell phones, okay? Because this is a 25-year anniversary. So cell phones, they didn't have cell phones attached to them. Okay. We were told she would call us on arrival and the night before coming home. She called that first night, still excited. She then called the next night. Her exact words: everyone is going to a movie, but I need permission because of the rating. It has one of our cowboys in it. It was an astronaut movie with Clint Eastwood. We like cowboy movies. We said yes. She went the next day. So a lot of times when we, like applications go out to families, it's sent way ahead of time because the doctors have to fill out a portion. The family does, a social worker, the nurse, it's involved. And so we don't know necessarily what movies will be out at that particular time if we go to movies for that particular program. So a lot of times if one comes out and it's a good nature movie like this one was, we have to call the parents and still make sure, because I'm very, very protective and specific on things with kids and making sure families are involved as well, obviously, all the time, even though they weren't there because these are kids episodes. We do family retreat programs, but this was just a kids one. This is a letter continuing. The following day, I received another call. Mama, I just spent the whole day with the guy in the laundry room. I could hear laughter behind her. To clarify, my two children, David and Christy, brought me, Mom, a poster of our other cowboy, the actor in Dances with Wolves. Come on, you know who this is. That wasn't part of the letter. Okay, back to the letter. I hung that poster in our laundry room, the busiest room in the house. After a minute, I realized what she meant. The dinner and visit obviously left a lasting impression. During the evening at your talent awards show, your guest, Kevin Costner, told her she could sing. My daughter, Christy, heard Kevin, another gift. The next call was the night before coming home. Once home, she joined the church choir and middle school and high school choir. Whoa! She was top soprano and was asked to Madrigal group, an elite group for juniors and seniors. With school, she sang in New York at Carnegie Hall. With the church choir, she went to Rome and sang to Pope Benedict at St. Peter's Square, and then in a mass where the Pope prepared and ordained new cardinals in the Vatican. Okay, imagine that. Imagine that. A little child with cancer, they don't even know she can get on a plane and go to a special program. They don't even know who was running the program. I mean, I think they knew because the application was so long and it's like, hello. But okay, so the letter continues. But isn't this like, it's special. It's special. And so when you do things for someone, whatever it is, and someone's done something for you, that touching in the heart carries on. I mean, this letter comes 25 years later. Okay, so it continues. All this because you invited Christy to your camp and Kevin Costner told her she could sing. Christy, so, okay, I'm just going to give you a little thing about our talent show. Everyone has to be in the talent show. Everyone at the beginning says, the beginning of like a program, they'll say, no, I'm not going to be in the talent show. And it's like, yes, you have to be in the talent show. And a lot of times we get a lot of like, ooh, some of the kids are scared when we do an activity because they may never have done it before. Maybe new like a ropes course or whatever it is, hitting a tennis ball. It could be, on a whitewater raft, or it could be skiing. It could be just doing something in a town that they've never, seen before. It could be swimming with dolphins. So we obviously are very kind and gentle and nurturing and know a lot about these children ahead of time. I'm very aware of, taking in everything that's happening around. Like God kind of helps guide in terms of, okay, you can encourage a little bit more or back off or encourage a little more. So things like that. But with the talent show, we always said, you have to be in it. And I'm always in it, which gives them so much comfort because dancing, I didn't grow up dancing. Okay. So my like involvement of dancing is just like kind of my enthusiasm in life. It just goes and it flows, and who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So once kids see that, they're like, you know what? She doesn't care if she looks ridiculous. So we're fine doing it. So that's kind of how this all has come to birthing on it. All right. So back to it. Christy has prospered through school, college, married the boy next door, and spent the last 10 years traveling from Army base to Army base. After several miscarriages, Christy gave birth to a beautiful girl in Honolulu. At the age of 6, she has decided she wants to be a singer. They had another sweet baby girl in Alabama a couple of years later. She was born with a cranio situation, but after one surgery, she's doing awesome. Christy is still cancer-free. This is a long thank you, but I wanted you to know. Christy truly felt the love and inspiration from both of you, Andrea and Kevin Costner. And I know she also meant the team too, but there's only so much you can fit on a card, right? I'm sure she is only one of so many that you have made such a difference in their lives. Dave and Catherine Kramer. So the reason I wanted to share those is I'm asking you to find someone dear to you, to give them a remember, to give them, who you are and who they were and who they are back at that time when something special happened. And whether, even if it's in your prayers, because that energy goes forth, whether it's a sentiment, whether you give a call, a text, an email, a smile, something, like, just go forth with it. Just go forth with it, because it really can be transformative for that person. If you keep in what you have as like a blooming blossom of love, and you keep it in there, sure, it's going to grow, but it'll grow even that much more with someone else receiving it too. So that's that part of the podcast. Now we go to the next subject. Next subject is be emotionally alive. Okay, here we go, because this is an interesting one. So different for each of us is being emotionally alive, because we're all unique beings, right? But did you know that suppressing how you feel actually can weaken your immune system? It does. Experts have said it. There's studies on it, and you probably have felt it certainly yourself. So if you express yourself in your best, kindest, and loving way, it can bring your immune system to a level of healing and a level that is more at peace and vibrant. And you can express yourself in ways that never even involve another person. So it's like someone might listen to this and go, oh my gosh, what do I have to do? I have to go talk to someone or do something. You can do it. There's so many different ways you can do it. And I preface this with use non-harmful ways. Okay. Like, to you, society, super important on that. So when you get creative on how to do it, keep that in mind. You can write a letter that releases suppressed anger. Then you can rip it up if that's what, best suits you. But, think about that. And then you can share your heart's desire, regardless of how ridiculous it may sound. Live whole, live full, live emotionally alive. No one can do that for you, but you could do it for yourself. And it's important because life, with all these technology advances, life has become busier. We can connect more with people, but are we connecting more with ourselves? Are we, when I grew up, and maybe anyone that's close to my age, or around that, I guess decades and generations, we were outside a lot. You ran outside, you came in for dinner. We were outside a lot more than kids are now. And so kids aren't getting that energy from the ground, from the grass, from the trees, from animals, or, from that playfulness. They're turning more to the technology sides, but it's really important to express things, because, for kids, when you run, it's like you're exuding a certain kind of playful energy, and that's super important. And when you get older, obviously I just continue doing that, but you can. And I tend to worry less about what someone may think about that. I tend to think more, my audience is God. And so of course I want to be respectful to the people that are around me, and I want them to be proud. If you're part of the foundation, certainly, that's important to me, but it can never be the sole reason of something. So anyway, so to move on to their closing subject here, cultivation of authenticity. That's our next subject. So as children, we often seek approval, admiration, attention. Adults tend to gravitate towards the same. Think about that. Think about when you go in school, it's like, if you have the answer, you raise your hand, right? That's the first thing you do, is raise your hand. And that's like, you want attention to answer the question. There's countless ways that our society and humanity cultivates, totally cultivates, seek attention. And it's not necessarily the best way to go about things, but let's work with this one and have an open flow of conversation and dialogue. So whether a child or adult, the times during, before, and after, if you seek and take its action towards being authentic, life has a different and higher vibration. It's true. And when you reflect for a moment on that, you probably recognize that in yourself. The frequency in which you thrive tends to be more enlightened and heightened when you are authentic. You hear that word a lot, authentic, be authentic, be authentic. And what does that really mean? I mean, again, it's different for each person. When you're authentic, you're true to yourself. You're true to what is your inner drive. And you still, even being authentic, you may still have life's, interesting adventures because, life is about that. But it's so much more fulfilling. It just really is, because it kind of goes back to that second subject here, that if you suppress being authentic, that means you're accepting something else that is going to hinder your evolving. And so that's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your wellness, not only in the enjoyment part. I mean, it might work to appease somebody, even over a long period of time, because that could be from growing up, that can be from work environment, it could be from peer groups. But if you continually do that and lose yourself, you recognize it. You just feel off. And so I just, since this was my own little podcast today, just kind of wanted to share that because it's just special to think about and special to pay attention to, just recognize it. So since I was a child, I have no idea why or how. It must have been a gift, but my audience was always God. It was, my mom and dad, cute as mine, and my sister as well, my older sisters, they loved cheering me on for tennis. And often when I played junior tournaments and some pro tournaments, they were all there. Mostly it was just my dad, but I never had to look at my dad for approval for anything in terms of, how am I doing? Did I hit that shot well? It was never, in juniors, I remember in a couple matches in pros, if a linesman got something wrong, I look at my dad what's up with that? But I never needed applause. I never needed my parents to cheer me on for anything. I always knew that cheering was in the action of doing, and that God and all of God's helpers knew it. And we're aware of it, and we're all knowing and all seeing and all hearing. And so that's how my behavior always molded. And so I think maybe I'm more comfortable with being a little bit more myself than an average person. And there's no condemnation, there's no judgment, there's nothing like that whatsoever. It's just, I've had a lot of people ask me, and I talk to schools, and I've told probably over 100 million people at this point that it's important to live full, because it is who you are. And when you live your best self, it benefits everyone. It benefits the universe. And it really does make a difference. So I think I probably had it easier just because I had that younger. So I also, in doing that, I probably had more mocking at me, maybe making fun until someone understood really what I was doing, whether it was tennis or the foundation, things like that. They, audiences sometimes, because they don't have a dial right into you, they may just be unaware of how you're feeling inside and how you're so excited to feel your passion or your calling. And so I just want to say that as well. It's a path, and it's a really awesome path. And I applaud doing the authentic path, but I also want to let you know, sometimes can be a little slippery, might be a little speckle of woe in there, but you can still get through the woe. It's just, you have more peace at the end of the woe. And so I just want to share that part, because I think that's just important. So we all have reflections on what is really our true self. It would have forced, if I would have forced myself to be attentive to only people's motives for me, I would have struggled daily internally. Actively living my intended callings, intended experiences, that is what drives me each moment. And that gives me peace inside, regardless of what appears challenging and awesome in life. Being authentic sometimes can be the most popular way to be, depending on who you surround yourself with, or it can be the least popular. All up to you. Me, I would rather process the consequences of being authentic than living a life unauthentic. And it is a daily evolving, Like if people are listening, watching is so much more fun on the video, but the is that part. And then, wow, cool, oops, aha. That's what happens with being authentic. It can be like someone dabbles in being authentic and like 1 second, it's like, whoa, this is so awesome. And then the next day they go back to being comfortable. And it's like, why? Like, why would you want to be comfortable? Because you'll never evolve to your true self and knowing what you're capable of and knowing what you contribute. And I'm not saying monetarily and financially. Yes, I'm a fundraiser at Little Star Foundation. So that is a big part of what I do. But I'm talking about your contributions that go into like the wealth of the universe, the bank of heaven. Those are different riches. Those are riches of the heart and the soul and spirit and actions that are of your greatest self. And so that's kind of what the episode is here. So anything else on the episode, I guess I'll just send it energetically. But important. I was so excited. These just came in the printers. They're going out. I'm going to show you once more. Yeah, do you see them behind? You see them behind? All right, here we go. Look, there it is. There's the front. Here's the back. The back stays pretty traditional. And then the workbook. I told you we were going to get a workbook. You just thought, oh, no, they can't do it every week. I can do these every day. Okay. So people have told me I have a gift of faith, a gift of joy, and a gift of energy. I think it's when you do your authentic self, it's inspiring. And so you have more energy than you probably would otherwise. But so, yeah, this all got done. So it's okay. So I showed you one. Let me show you. That was Laura's page that you saw. David Foster's in here. Look at that. Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor, there she is. And Charlie made it in her picture. It's so fun. Kurt Warner, we got that one. Christine Brennan. So there's pictures. There's just a lot of inspirational sayings and words and artwork and Little Star Foundation alumni in there, children with cancer that have grown up and are doing things to contribute to the world and other people who have remarkable and extraordinary stories. And that's what this is about. It's about inspiring each other and being part of something that we're all connected to. So, so anyway, on behalf of myself, Andrea Jaeger, everyone at Little Star Foundation and Little Star Light, love, blessings, and a joyful, fulfilled holiday season, and always to you. And to remember to enjoy the transformative episode that is next up with Laura Alden Cam. So thank you again. Lots of blessings. And that's all for now.